today we're gonna go to Iran with my guest, I guess.
Kia,
Yeah.
and as I said,
Could you introduce yourself?
my name is Kia. I come from Iran, and I'm an engineer student. Yeah.
Could you introduce about your city?
Okay. I come from a city, Isfahan.
Mm.
It's in the middle of the Iran, and it's the second biggest city in the country,
Mm.
with many industries. It's a very industrial city.
Interesting. Um, could you introduce? You tell me that you have read about my country, Vietnam, and also Ho Chi Minh. Is that right?
Yes,
Could
yes.
you share with us some information?
Um, I read many I read many books about Vietnam, usually with Russian authors, and and they were all about Vietnam and Vietnam War, especially
Mm.
and but there was one book which I really like. It was by Falaci, very famous Italian
Mm.
journalist. Its name was Nothing and So Be It. She was the eyewitness of Vietnam War.
Mm. But it talk about Vietnam War with American or
Yes, yes,
American.
yes, in those period. Yeah.
So what impressed you the most in that book?
The very first thing that actually impressed the world was the bravery of people of Vietnam. They were amazing, and uh, this is the first impression for everybody. And we have a very different world nowadays, and but those courageousness and those they really changed. I believe the '60s movement and baby boomer generation, almost they all started by Vietnam War. It was one
Mm.
of the most breakthrough in the history.
Thank you. I'm very happy when you say that. Especially, I'm very surprised when you tell me that you read about Vietnamese War. Um, it's really impressed about you.
Thank you.
So, how about Ho Chi Minh?
Uh, I read a book about his, it was a biography of him,
Mm.
a Russian writer, and he was very, we have, I can say he was one of the most important people in 20th century. That was the first thing you can say about him. But he was very brave and he has very many great ideas, and it's hard to talk about a person in a few minutes, but
Mm.
you can't talk about Vietnam War without mentioning his name. It's like
Yes, he's the most important, like a leader in that time.
yes, of
He
course,
have us to get our own independence.
yes, and
So you know about my country a lot, but sorry, I don't know much about your country. So could you help me a bit to understand more about your culture?
okay, we have a country. Iran is a country with 2,500 years of story, and so they have a very they are very fortunate in culture, and they have a long story, and um, I believe they are very
Peaceful?
peaceful
Mm.
people, and they are very famous for their carpets and cats.
So because today I'm looking for the idea for international managers, but in order to like people from another country want to go to Iran and cooperate with the company there. So what I'm looking for is understanding about your culture and business culture, like how people work there and what they prefer to be treated. And like, please give me some advice, like how to cooperate better with your people in your country.
Okay, the very first thing that you should know about Iran is that Iran economy is based on oil price.
Oil.
It's a very different thing compared to many other.
Mm.
So if you want to know if the country works good or bad, you should check the price of oil. So when it comes higher than 100, it's a good sign. When it's
Mhm.
low, okay, then you should think more. But okay, management culture is there are some books about it, but I believe in Iran, working it's still very formal. It's still lots of organization which matter are SOE, state-owned enterprises, and um, taxes are low.
Low.
Yeah, well, very low, and this is good. But uh, talking about bureaucracy, I believe if it's not a bureaucracy-free society. Certainly, there are bureaucracy, but it's not that much high the level of it. And but about the leadership system or culture, it's still very yeah, still very elementary, and based on levels, and the company has a boss, or it's not, or manager, let's call it manager. I don't think so. It's not like the leader, those types. It's very different in Sweden. You can say that.
So to make it clear, could you say like in your country is it individual or collectivism?
Okay,
About the culture, it mean like you prefer to live in group or.
I work in a private construction company for 4 years, and it was a private company, so there was lots of individualism in the company. But when you work in a SOE, no, it there is something. Of course, in the East, competition is not that much a good thing. You are not very in East culture. I'm not talking about only Iran. Competition individually is not a very good thing. People are not approved such a behavior that much. So it's not like a Western culture would be. So you can say collective,
Collective.
just like many other Eastern countries. I'm sure it's the same in China or Vietnam
Yeah,
or
yeah.
many other countries.
My country is collectivism.
Yes, I can.
So in the business environment, how about the power distance between the manager and the staff? Is it a high, a long distance, or like the distance between the manager and the staff? Like we should make it different and make it like the way we treat. Like, oh, I am a manager and you are
I
staff.
understand. And yeah, I know. You should know that Iran economy, because as I said, is based on oil, and oil is a nationalism. It's still very governmental. Lots of organizations that you can even see in Sweden, they are privatized. They are not private in Iran. They are belong to the government, and it's like, and when you are dealing with a governmental organization, you know that this is not, there are lots of distance between the boss and the employees, huge distance, and they don't come to sit in the same table with you. But I work in a private company, and
You was a manager or
I
what is the
was
position?
I worked there. I studied there as I worked as a computer. I was very good in AutoCAD. I
AutoCAD.
Yeah, so I drew many plans for them. Later, I did my internship there, and finally, I worked there as a manager. I had a small role there, and but there there was no high distance. We were very close. We always very friendly. But I know if I change my go to a SOE, it's not gonna be like this.
So it's also depend on the company also.
Yes, completely.
But maybe we should talk about the maturity, because like we are giving the ideas for someone who wanna enter Iran market. That's why maybe, uh, of course, there's some specific case, but maybe how about the maturity, like how they work there.
Can you elaborate it, explain it more for me, please?
Like in your country,
Hmm.
how to motivate people.
Oh yeah, okay. I like to say, but motivate. Okay, the best motivation I had was my salary. Anyway, but
Everywhere.
yeah, but okay, motivation. Okay, the first thing, when you have more responsibilities,
Mm.
this is the best motivation for me. Actually, I
Mm.
can talk about when my boss or my manager didn't come every day to check my work.
Mm.
That was a good sign that okay, he somehow have confidence in me, trust me. But um, motivation is based on individual competition, of course,
Mm.
and I don't know. The motivation is usually based on salaries, based
Mm.
on some bonus,
Mm.
and I know that in some countries, especially in Japan, that they will have a culture to say that the goal is that to help company is more important than our individual life or things like that. If the success of the company is the success of employees. No, I don't think so. No, it's not like this. Certainly it's not like this. It's more based on salaries.
Okay, but I'm wondering that you say that your country the main resources is oil, is that right?
Not oil, but the main but most important one is oil, yes,
Mm.
of course.
So you produce the raw material, or you produce at the final product?
Okay, that's like many other oil-based economies. We certainly export oil,
Mm.
and it's a good business.
Mm.
But yeah, we have, for example, in my city, we have many industries based on I don't know actually the English word, but I believe it's petrochemia, and yes, it's a we I can't say that because the main is oil. The main, but of course we have many other industries too. So.
Mm. How is the economic situation now in your country?
Mm, okay, I didn't check it
Yeah.
today, but I know that there is a financial crisis everywhere. The situation of I can't say that any country are happy nowadays, but I believe that they are okay because the price of oil is high,
Mm.
so it's a good sign. But I wasn't there for 3 years, so it's hard for me to actually say something for sure.
So how about the uncertainty avoidance? It mean in your country people prefer to make everything like a policy, a rule, or they want to be flexible.
Okay, this is a good question. In private companies, let's just say that okay, they are much more flexible. The, the one thing that I want to be elaborate more that there are many industries in Iran that belong to the government.
Mm.
It is very different that even
Mm.
than Sweden. In, Even in Sweden, you can see that almost all the companies are privatized. And I was very surprised actually for about this. But anyway, in Iran, many companies belong to the government. So when you're dealing with a company which has belonged to the government for 100 years, and
Mm.
it was always like this, and
Mm.
um, that people have a secure job.
Mm.
Just like many other SOEs, employees are never worried. I think they're never gonna lose their because government never get bankrupt, so they always know. Okay,
Mm.
we have a very secure job here.
Mm.
So you can say there are lots of policies and rules,
Mm.
but I don't know. No, I can't say that it's a bureaucratic government or the economy. No, certainly not. It's flexible, you can say, somehow, especially in private companies. It's completely flexible.
Okay. So in general, could you like? I have no idea about how like the first time I come to Iran. So could you give me some advice, like what should I know in order to cooperate better?
Um,
Like people in your country, what they like.
the, the very first thing that you should have a complete clear idea
Mm.
that how the things works there. It's very good to have somebody from Iran.
Yeah.
I don't,
Relationship.
yeah, it's better to have somebody from take somebody some Iranian from here
Mm.
to talk to them.
Mm.
This is much better. I noticed that.
Why?
Uh, there are many rules. There are many different cultures, especially because my country is not very common, for example, to talk directly. We have a very it's, we don't usually say things directly to the people. We have very different culture. We are much more. It's harder.
Oh,
When
really?
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I don't. Uh, this is the problem. Sometimes I even hear people because I don't talk to people directly. I usually try to use
Mm.
irony or. It's not. It's better to have some Iranian. This is
Mm.
the first advice I have. Don't go there and talk to them because
Mm.
they
So.
always say yes. They always say okay,
Mm.
okay.
Mm.
You say something, can you do this? I said, of course, yes.
Mm.
And maybe they can't. Maybe they just want to be polite. They don't want to
Mm.
disappoint you. Maybe this is, I don't know how to explain it, but
Mm.
it's much better to have some Iranian with you.
Yeah. You mean that as a local people together, you understand what they say better,
Mhm.
because maybe the foreigner can be like misunderstanding.
Yes, of course.
Uh-huh.
Yes, of course. This can happen. And
But how about they willing to they don't willing to talk to foreigner, or like it's just an issues about misunderstanding.
many, no, I just talked about business cooperation. No, many companies work there. Lots of my cousin worked in Nokia company there for me. No, it's not. I just mean if you want to go there and start a business, and for example, you want to import something or export something there, I always suggest that it's better to have somebody who knows the language, and
Your own language.
it's Persian.
Mm.
Yes, and it's
How many languages you have?
only one Persian.
Only one.
Yeah. And it's much better to have somebody who knows the language and knows the rules. And people are very, they are very polite. They are very cooperative. There's no problem. They are very helpful.
Mm.
But as I said, sometimes when you're dealing with people who are so polite,
Mm.
you can't understand what they.
Yeah, that really mean.
Yeah, it's hard.
Because that it's also difficult for them to tell the truth because they want to be polite, and politeness sometimes cover the truth.
Yes.
Yeah, I understand. So, I'm not sure, but I think between Asia, European, and people in Western, I think it must be a huge difference between in the culture. So, could you say something more about how to cooperate better in your country?
As I said, it's very good to have somebody who knows the culture, who knows the language.
Mm.
Then it's very essential and vital.
Mm.
If, as I said, there are very polite people, and just like many other Eastern countries, it's hard to understand them clearly. Sometimes politeness means that they don't talk to you completely. Honestly, they just want to not disappoint you or not. So it's better to have somebody who can understand the language. It's much better. But it's okay because there are very in Iran there are many foreign companies work there. You can use their experience. For example, we have a very big factory which there are many Italian engineers work there. Many Italian companies work there, so they can share the information. We can already contact them to know it.
So, could you, because you also live here in Sweden, so could you compare between the two countries, and I can understand it more?
Okay, there are many, of course, but considering the business, I can say that, okay, everybody knows taxes are so high in Sweden. It needs lots of paperwork to start a company and everything. They are getting better, of course, but in Iran it's much easier. And I said tax are very low, and that's
But
a
I mean,
fact.
the behavior at work, is it different in
They
here?
are much more formal. There in Iran it's much more formal than Sweden.
Oh, so how formal?
There are lots of laws between employees, the level and everything, and it is a fact that you could, I work in a construction company, so I know that I was there as an engineer, so there was very, it wasn't, the distance was large. It wasn't a closed, it wasn't a flat company. There were lots of levels, and the distance between levels were very.
So
There was something about like about Sweden. The people are very friendly. They look at you and say what they think.
Yeah.
And
Straightly.
yeah, no matter if I didn't work in any Swedish company, but I know that they are much more friendly. You can talk to your manager much more easily. There it's not like it's just like many other Eastern countries. Boss is the boss.
So, is there anything else I should know?
I can. I'm an engineer student, so it's hard for me to talk about business, but I work in the companies there. They are very flexible, and as I said, you don't need to pay tax. So it's a good idea.
Okay. Thank you so much for your time.